yes, we're back again. It's Friday night on the bus. It's just after 9 o'clock, and as always, you know what that means. It must be time for that Friday feeling here, and quite a busy show ahead. Obviously, last night we did play Midtjylland. It didn't particularly go well. If you tuned into the post-match show, you know myself and Terry were on, and yeah, it was quite a low energy post-match show for a low energy performance by Celtic, but the games keep coming thick and fast because we've got another one this coming Sunday, a chance to flush it right out of our system as Kilmarnock come to town. So we'll also be looking ahead to that as we normally do. Could it be Martin O'Neill's last time in the dugout? We'll obviously speculate on that because from day one, since Martin O'Neill's came in, he keeps on earmarking this first international break. He himself keeps mentioning short term, definitely short term, only interim, and he keeps bringing up this first international break, which of course is just after this game on Sunday. Will we see some movement? Have the Celtic board got something to tell us? Speaking of the Celtic board, they did tell us something tonight. The Green Brigade have been banned again. We'll be looking into that. And with a cynical mind, I suspect a few people will be approaching that one. So we'll be talking about that. And of course, the meltdown that just keeps on going on and on and on. Here we are on day number 5, I think. And yeah, more people are still chirping off about Austin Trusty's malicious assault on Jack Butland last week. So I guess we'll have our say on that as well. Liam, plenty to talk about. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing okay, mate. It's never a dull week, is it? It just implodes. This is why we can't have nice things, Celtic. What are we doing here? It's crazy. Just it just seems like it's all kicking off on all over the park. Just when you thought Martin was coming to bring a wee bit of stability, we had a wee nostalgic moment. I loved that wee bit of glory again, seeing him in the trackie and the touchline. I bought into all those romantic vibes. You shouldn't, but we do because we support Celtic. Yeah. And they're all gone. They're gone. Just came. Clubs taking them away. Fans are taking them away. We're all fighting each other again. You know, I don't know where to go. I think it's a good move getting Rodgers out. And where we are right now, I think, wouldn't it be nice to just sort of build on something, anything, a wee bit of stability?
There's not too much to ask, really. That's all we want, just to see a wee run now of consistent results, because, we haven't had that in a while. I can't remember the last time, it was 3 or 4 wins in the bounce. We're not asking for much here, but hopefully we can get that started on Sunday. But before we get into tonight's show, getting into the crux of everything, you know what to do, folks. As always, at this point, I'll say, do all that good stuff and help out the channel massively. Again, once again, I thank everybody who helped us get over the 1,000 mark, but there are more landmarks to be hit. So by all means, hit the old like button, interact with the channel in that way, and it can help push us more to people who like Celtic podcast-related content. Obviously, you can hit the subscribe button if you discover us anytime soon, and like the cut of our jib, then keep us on your life that wee bit longer. And of course, remember the bell notification, because then you'll be notified when we go on the road. It's a very busy market, the Celtic podcast world, so always make sure you keep on top when this channel's on. Bell notifications, your best friend in that case. Let's see who is in the chat tonight as well. We've got a busy one already. So let's see. Jim C is in. Connor Rowan is in. Ian McIntosh is here. James Kennedy's here. Graham Tyrrell's here. We still don't know who the new klaxon holder's going to be, Graham, or the Brendan Bell or whatever. We'll need to decipher that one soon enough. Who else we got? Spell the Glove is here. Jim C is in. Ryan Rafferty's in. Stevie McCarthy's in. Scully is here. Where's Mulder when you need them? Teresa Lyle Media is here. Paul Maguire. 420 somewhere is also here. So thanks everybody for tuning in this fine Friday night. Take your usual seats, because a lot of the same names coming up. So all part of the furniture now around here. And what else can you do? If you want to become a Boys in the Bus member, help the channel out with a wee $1.99 a month just to keep the diesel in the tank, then you can do so. And you get a virtual Celtic scarf next to your name on YouTube. What more could you possibly want? And again, as I always say, if you like audio, if you like to catch up via MP3 on, if you're out walking the dog or something, out for a jog, maybe exercising, and you want to catch up with us via that, get us in your ear, then by all means, you can find the link in the description below to our SoundCloud website. Go there, hit subscribe button, and you can download any show's audio version as well. And yes, before that's said and done, Liam, then I guess we'll get into all the news this week before we look at the Kilmarnock game. I guess we'll go in chronological order. So we'll go back to the furthest event, and it's still rumbling on. Here we are, Friday night, and they're still going on about it. The malicious assault by Austin Trusty on Jack Butland. It's just getting tiresome now, isn't it? how many times in the last few years, and obviously we've had some stinking results against Rangers in recent times, Liam, as we've documented enough times. Do you remember us like really kicking up such a fuss, or do we just kind of go, we were shite, we deserve to lose, and we just kind of lick our wounds and go away? But how many times now in the last few years have Rangers lost to us, and it has to be a big drama and a big palaver, and to the SFA, and all sorts of people coming out in the media and speaking out on it? It's just getting fucking boring now, isn't it, mate?
And it's expected as well. I mean, it's been a wee while since we had one because they've had their way in that lately. But as soon as you've seen it, I mean, I think I texted you in the WhatsApp when I was saying, when was the last time we had a meeting with the referees on a contentious decision the very next day and have that sort of call to order? We don't see it, do we?
No, I can remember
doing that. And and we've had some really dodgy decisions and all that lately, and historically. So yeah, it's one of the things that just surprises me where it looked like a tap on the head, and I think it was just one of these things where he was stretching. It was the heat of the moment, and you know what? It's a man's game, as used to say. You get up and just get up. He didn't try and boot your head off. I mean, intent is everything. If he's looking at, there's so many times you could do that. And look at Joe Hart, the one last year with Fletcher. I think it was.
That's right. I done United up at Tannadice. Yeah.
So Fletcher got a yellow card for that. And by the way, so that wasn't a tap. The intent there was to go through and leather the ball.
Yeah.
Trusty wasn't trying to do that either. No. I think it was just a balancing type thing. I think it was just a natural, or just even an instinct to say, "Hey, I'm here." You know what I mean? Like, who knows? It was kind of daft, but the intent wasn't malice at all. And then you look at the other one that they appealed when they were in the youth, and it was like Kamal Roof tried to take that goalie's face off.
So he did, yeah.
With a boot to the head. And so they contested that. They appealed that. I think they got to just wind it back in as well. And it's like, honestly, just take your beating, go home. Work in your banners or something.
Work on your finishing, because as Jim Kidd says there, they couldn't finish their chances, and we did. It's only an excuse, and that is pretty much what it is. It's just covering up their deficiencies. On the day, they've obviously turned up that day. Their fans definitely felt that we were there for the taking, that we were in turmoil because Brendan Rodgers left. Ironically, Brendan Rodgers leaving was probably the best thing that could have happened, because how many shows for the last few months did we keep saying that something's got to change? And the only thing that really could change was Brendan had to go. As much as, as me in particular, I've always been a big fan of Brendan at Celtic, but I would be the first one to tell you in the last few weeks and whatnot, it's not working. He's got to go. So ironically, when they rolled up at Hampden last week, they just thought, Celtic, they're absolute chaos right now, we're going to do them. And they were probably absolutely shell-shocked. And in that first half, we were so dominant that it should have been more than 1-0 at half-time. And the fact that it even went to extra time was criminal that we allowed that to happen, because we should have finished them off. But yeah, we got the job done in the end. But of course, I say there had to be some kind of palaver. And there was lots of bad decisions both ways. Once again, highlighting that the referees are just rotten. But the hyperbole, Liam, the fucking hyperbole this week from some folk in the media, obviously everyone's favourite cheeky chappy, Ali McCoist on TalkSport one day this week said it's the worst decision he's ever seen. Austin Trusty Young, it's the worst decision he's ever seen. I can think of many right off the top of my head right away involving Scottish referees that were worse than that one. I can remember one, for example, doesn't involve Celtic or Rangers, this one. So you can't say that I've got some kind of bias, but I remember a few years ago, Bobby Madden sent an Aberdeen player off at Tannadice when a Dundee United fan reached over the barrier and took a swing at him, and the Aberdeen player got sent off for that. And it's like, you're coming up with lines like, it's the worst decision I've ever seen. And it's like, come on, Ali, away. Honestly, we can boil your head, mate. That is not the worst decision. I say there's so many you can point to. And yeah, it's just absolute nonsense and just more and more excuses. But overall, you obviously haven't been on since that game anyway. Just your general thoughts before we move on to talk about the other events of the week. But it was a welcomed return to form against Rangers anyway, Liam, because, yeah, we badly needed that. You've said enough times throughout 2025 about the horrendous record we were having in these big games. It was good to see us finally turn up, be up for the fight, and yeah, just match them all across the park, and in some parts dominate them on the park.
Do you know what? It was just nice to go on a Sunday and enjoy Celtic again. Enjoy Celtic being Celtic for all the Celtic things we like. You know, and that was like playing that type of football, watching, being introduced to new players that you think we're going to, you know, on the cusp of taking advantage of a big opportunity, you know, in the Osmond case. But yeah, I think it was just nice. I liked the idea. It was like you're seeing Martin O'Neill and seeing players just looking happy and just putting in an effort. Everybody seemed to be playing really well, and yeah, it was just nice to just go out and enjoy Celtic again. And that's important because, you know, I've not seen that a lot lately. You know, getting up at 4 a.m, you know, leaving a pub at 6 a.m, the sun's just coming up, and you're looking like, was that worth that? Was that? And I'm sure there's guys that travel for Ireland and England, and you have to get babysitters and miss work, and I wonder, did I really enjoy that as much as I should? So yeah, that Sunday, that reminds me why I support Celtic. It was great. I loved all the banter afterwards. You know, even some of the memes and AI stuff that was done with, like, Trusty absolutely jigging on top of Butland's head and all that, you know, like just, you know, on his head rolling up past the byline and stuff. Yeah. You know, and just, that's the sort of stuff that I like. You know, I like being a Celtic fan when I'm in a good mood about Celtic. So I hate all this negative stuff right now, and that. I know it has to be done, but yeah, when the opportunity comes to take advantage of it and watch a really good game, see the reintroduction of a man I always really admired and had a lot of time for, and just see it come in, yeah, it was an enjoyable day. And I don't feel guilty for enjoying that and cheering every goal, whatever. And just because I wasn't shouting "boo the board" that day doesn't mean, you know, I'm not on side with that either. You know, that I'm do that as well.
Well, the saying does go, back the team, sack the board, doesn't it? That's the full expression. So it's like both can be true. You can back the team on the park, but yeah, you can still hold a lot of resentment for the way the board have acted. Both can be true.
Well, we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, definitely, we definitely will. But I did find it interesting today that Austin Trusty was wheeled out by Celtic for the media duties today. Now it's always the manager and one of the players will talk to the media. It was actually Austin Trusty today, so naturally he was asked about all of that, and yeah, he just said, look, there was no malice there. Yeah, I tapped him in the head. But of course, who was wheeled out for Rangers media duties today? It's almost like they knew it. Jack Butland was wheeled out today, so he was concerned about it might set a precedent now. Oh, honest to God, here's the world's smallest violin playing for you there, Jack, my man. So yeah, unbelievable. But yeah, as you say, we've managed to finally get that long and awaited win over them. We've definitely needed it, and it makes me feel a bit better for the next time we play them, because I was getting a bit tiresome the way we were just not matching them at all. But from the good, Liam, we might as well talk about the most recent game then and get your thoughts on that. Obviously, me and Terry came on after last night. There wasn't much to really talk about. There was a shot in the first 20 seconds. We didn't have another shot at goal until 70-something minutes when we were already 3-0 down at that stage. But I said it last night, Celtic doing Celtic things in Europe. Get the bingo card out, everybody. The usual tropes that we do. Cheap goals that we gave away, conceding 2 goals in quick succession. We've seen all these things before. Liam kind of brought us back down to earth, as I said last night. Mathematically, Celtic are still in it in terms of getting through, but realistically, would you back us at the moment with the fixture still to come and whatnot? I think we're getting close to Europe being a write-off this season if we want to progress. I think we're going to have to accept that it's a very big ask now, Liam, at this stage.
See everything I just said about the last game? Reverse that.
Yes.
Because Jesus Christ, nothing like bringing you crashing down to earth real quick. It was. You said it was the greatest hits of European blunders. You know?
Yep.
And you know, they took their goals well. They took their goals efficiently, proficiently. They had a style of play about them with identifying it. My God, they were really good technically. Everything that they did seemed to have purpose and build. And yeah, that's Midland. That's where we are now in a 15,000-seater stadium. We're getting schooled, and they looked every bit as good a team as we hope to come up against, and what we should at least be striving to be as well. They looked really good. I mean, even the boy there was a boy that played with Rangers at one time. The boy in the wing.
Kevin and Babu.
Like I thought he looked like a Kay and Peele character.
Yeah.
More for the North Americans.
The fullback, but one of their midfielders, Philip Billing, used to play for Bournemouth, and he was at Napoli last season. And it's like, not bad. But they, I said that to Terry last night. They feel like a team that have got a structure and a plan, and we should aspire. We should look at that type of model. The boy that scored the third goal, he was for Guinea-Bissau. That was the country he was from, and it's like that boy looked excellent. Like if he was in the Celtic team, you'd be well chuffed. He had a lot of good touches, skillful, taking his man on, and obviously a great goal he scored. Just bend it in with his left foot, and it's like if we had a player like that, you'd be well chuffed. But that was the world superpower. He was from Guinea-Bissau.
Was that the 19-year-old?
I don't know his age, but the number 7 that scored the one where he bent it in with his left foot. But the second goal was
that was the 19-year-old.
He danced in from the left wing and just breezed by Ralston and Engels just right through the middle of them and bent into the far corner. He looked a player as well. But again, look at the scouting.
Well, you won the first scouting network, like being able to identify Balikwisha so early. I wonder if this boy was on our radar as well. And if it was around wait later for another year or so, because these UEFA teams that we're in, that should be an ideal scouting ground for us as well. We've got so many teams that came and taken players from us and that thing. And I think we've got to start looking at some of these players and seeing if they've got somebody that we can get because they need the money, or if it's something that they might just be misfiring that work better in a different environment. But you looked at that team last night, there was 2 or 3 players, the Croatian boy as well, that played in the back. I thought he was quite good. Yeah. So it just shows you, but it highlights what we were saying about Celtic and all that, and the recruitment and everything as well. It's like we're aspiring to be Maitland now.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was ever. Nobody's ever painted their Sabuto team Midland colours, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you could get away with being AC Milan with the red and black stripes, I guess, but yeah, they didn't ever say, it's actually Michelin, the Sabuto team, but yeah, it would be the red and black stripes, obviously the AC Milan look. But a couple of comments coming in that I've starred now that are worth talking about. So Stevie McCarthy says, a conversation needs to be had about Tenecti, no end product. So let's have said conversation just now. What are you feeling about Tenecti? Because me and Terry were trying to pick the bones last night and find something. Last night, he was kind of like our best outlet, but nothing was coming off for him other than in the first 20 seconds, he did all right on the left-hand side and picked out Engels on the edge of the box. And then after that, it was like, he was pretty invisible as most of the team were. There was I remember one counter-attack in particular in the first half where they had a corner. We obviously headed it away, came to Tenecti, and he was trying to obviously beat a few men, and James Forrest was alongside as close as he could be, but he tried to zip a pass through him and it didn't go through. And yeah, Tenecti's a weird one because obviously that first couple of weeks, I don't know if it's because the standards had slipped so far with how we were playing at the time, but he had those couple of games against Thistle and against Kilmarnock where this guy's such a bright spark because he was so different in the way he was attacking from the way the rest of the team were playing. But since then, it's obviously been a bit up and down. Obviously, he took a nice goal against Falkirk last week. Good long ball into him. Dummied the goalkeeper as well. It was a nice finish. But how are you feeling about Tenecti right now, Liam?
I think he's just had I think he had a quiet game. I think you see what you get with Tenecti as well. Like he's great at driving to the byline and get that ball across. But that means you're looking for Hatate or Arnie Engels or Kenny or whoever's playing up front to be on that, or maybe even if it goes farther back, Tierney. Mm-hmm. I can see how his cut inside, it reminds me of Louis Palmer that way.
Yeah.
And it's like how long before everybody gets onto that? The same way there was a time with James Forrest where you could sort of, you knew that was going to be his signature move and it was going to be 3 strides.
Yeah.
You were going to go way more 3,
The game against, I was going to say the game against Dundee a few weeks ago that we lost. I've noticed that Dundee were just tripling up on him, quadrupling up on him, because we were doing nothing down the right-hand side that game. That was where Yang and Ralston played. We didn't even go near our right-hand side because it was pretty much ineffective. But every time we were going to Tenecti on the left, there was just like 4 Dundee players coming across to that side. It's like teams already in Scotland have kind of figured out at that point anyway. It might change under O'Neill or under the new manager, which we'll get on to talking about eventually. But yeah, right now, Tenecti is obviously a sort of, they've kind of sussed that if you keep him quiet, he seems to be the most lively in the Celtic attack.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd like to see him come back up, show what he has, you know. But I think as well, it's like that style of play. You know, I'm wondering if that's working for us, or if we need something else from him. You know, if we do start playing a two up front, I'm wondering what it'd be like, just going on through the middle like that. Ball he finished against Falkirk, that's a nice striker's goal. That one, you know, like I like the way he squared up and he went to short side with it as well, and but hammered it past it, waited to the goal to commit, and then just put it right underneath him and picked that corner. It was smart, it was clever. A lot of guys would have tried to slip it above it, but no, he just powered it through him. So yeah, I think he's just had an off game and all that. I've still got hope for him. However, it is worth, as you say, pointing out that teams might be figuring out how to play him, just like they did Abada, Haksabanovic, Palma, Yang, a lot of that sort of thing. It's like, okay, he's got one or two moves, and then they're figuring out how to play that. If you know, because we play so passively, you know.
Well, I thought last week against Rangers, like that boy that was playing for Rangers in the back line, Giga, like he is tragically bad. He's the one that had like a glitch in the Matrix when they were playing Bruges. The one where he just stopped like 30 yards for goal, and then the guy just pinged it over Jack Butland. He just had like I don't know, just a brain fart of some kind, and he just stopped moving. But I thought last week when it was, because he was on the right side of their centre-backs, the way Rangers set up last week, they had three centre-backs, so it was Tenecti was up against him a lot, and Tenecti had him on toast at times, but it just felt like he just didn't commit enough. Like he was beating him. He did what I noticed last Sunday, there was a few instances where it felt like Aidan McGeady used to do this. He'd beat the guy, and then he would double back on himself and beat him again. And it's like, you know, try and get to the byline, get a cross in, drive it across the goal. There was loads of times where he just had that Giga on toast, and then it was just like, no, I'm going to beat him again. And yes, it's just like it was like he didn't have the courage, his convictions, as we say, to just really take him on. But I do think Tenecti, you know, I get the whole point about Stephen brought up about no end product. It has waned a wee bit, and maybe we did overreact initially in the first couple of weeks, but it is still early days for the boy. We'll wait and see what obviously, you know, if we can develop over the next few weeks under a new manager. We might have one coming up soon. Might be Martin to the end of the season. We don't know at this point. But yeah, I'd still say with Tenecti, you know, there's still a lot to be seen there. But the early signs are there's promise there. But yeah, it might be a case of some fans might have just jumped the gun a little bit too quickly because it was so chronic to watch at times at the start of this season. So hopefully he can, you know, and obviously we've got to consider as well, the Jota comes back as well. Liam, what happens then? You know, Tenecti, does he move over to the other side? Does Jota go to the other side? Does Celtic maybe have grand plans at maybe converting Jota into a striker? Maybe like Maeda was playing through the middle, because we don't know if Maeda's going to be here through January. That's a whole thing as well. But Jota's still to come back, so we need to look at that one as well. But I'd say right now it's safe to say that we're choking for Jota to come back. He really needs to hit the ground running when he comes back. We're kind of going to be putting a lot of expectation on this boy, but we know he can do it because we've seen it. You know, it's not like we've taken a random punt on this boy. We know what he's capable of, but I can't wait to see Jota back in a Celtic shirt, mate.
Mate, see all the stuff we have to do in January. We'll have about 1 million left. That'll be it. You know, we better start cranking out some tracky taps and trainers at that point, because it just seems like every position's needing more work now, and the players are going down like flies. Like, what do you think the cause of that is right now? You're seeing. Do you think our fitness slacked this year as well? That when we talk about the training. And if Brendan wasn't fully committed, do you think like a virus that just fully spread across, and maybe they're not getting the adequate training they need right now, and that's why we're getting so many hamstring and muscle tear injuries?
Could be something like that. Obviously, in Ange's first season, that first half in particular, the 6 months running up to Christmas was brutal. Just players trying to adapt to a new training regime under him, and yeah, they were falling all over the place. But yeah, obviously this season we've had Alistair Johnson. Did he come back a bit too early? maybe he was a victim of just playing too much football, because he did play a lot. He went away in the summer and played for Canada in the Gold Cup. And obviously he came back and he's injured it again right away. Ian Atchell got injured because you've got to imagine lack of match fitness, because he's not been at his peak since he's obviously came in as a free agent. So he's always been a little bit behind in terms of fitness, but he tried to do a Kyogo and chase that ball, that Alistair Johnson pass up the sort of right-hand channel. And he's obviously chased it and his legs haven't handled it very well. He's obviously pulled the hamstring. And we saw last night, obviously, Callum Osmond. Again, that could also be down to just lack of game time. He's only been playing for the B team so far, and I'd imagine the intensity in our B team games are quite different from stepping up to the first team and, playing in a European game or a game against Rangers, as we saw on Sunday. So, yeah, he's just, his hamstrings went as well, and it looked really bad for him, unfortunately. And I feel so gutted for him. Like, when he won the penalty last night, and obviously he was pure keen to take it, and I was like, why not? Just let him take it, because what have we got? We're 3-0 down. There's 11 minutes to go. You may as well just let him take it and just, get another goal under his belt potentially. But obviously Hatate took it. But then a few minutes later, it's like he's been denied the chance to maybe get a goal, and then that's happened to him, and he looked devastated. Like he knew right away, this is bad. I don't think it's a hamstring pull. I think that's going to be a hamstring tear, Liam.
I mean, I just felt bad for him. I mean, he got a really good chance to prove himself. He won himself a penalty. You could see the confidence was building in him. I thought he was really good at getting up and challenging for the sky-high balls and all that sort of stuff. He was getting it. I mean, you're looking at a young kid right now, but there was the way he was backing into the players and all that. It's almost like maybe Mr. Chris Sutton's been having a word with him and showing him how to do. And once he matures and gets a bit more physical and all that, yeah, you can see his attributes about him that I liked, And again, but, we're at the point right now, we're looking for a hero anywhere we can find one and all that as well. Yeah. And I'm thinking when he did get called off, like the negative part just went, oh no, like, is it another Mikey Johnson situation?
Aye.
Players that's just got bad luck around about him. I really hope that's not the case. But,
he was drafted into the European squad to replace Carter Vickers, who's got a long-term injury, only himself to get a long-term injury. And again, Celtic doing Celtic things. Only that could happen to us. Only it could. Put that on the bingo card as well, that type of hard luck story on a European night. But yeah, just typical, mate.
Yeah, I mean, even the referee, and you couldn't even complain about the referee in the other night. I thought the referee was all right to get most. I think it kind of helped us for getting her doing. I kind of think they took the foot off the gas, to tell you the truth. They didn't come as hard as the second half. They're a good side, but anyhow. Well, going on Celtic Pro.
Do you want to let's talk about the manager stuff now? We'll talk about finding a hero. Perhaps the new hero will be in the dugout. Let's talk about some of the rumours doing the rounds before we get into talk about what's going to be happening at the game on Sunday. But I'm going to pull a name out here, Liam, and I know you love quotes for this guy, because I saw something doing the rounds last week and I found this quite interesting. But one, Gordon Strachan dropped a bit of a clanger somewhere about the potential new manager. Did you see this quote doing the rounds, Liam?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I know you love a Gordon Strachan quote, just like how you love a Brendan Rodgers quote. But yeah, obviously he did a sort of Q&A thing in Glasgow last week. Tam Cowan was hosting it. And apparently, now keep in mind, Gordon Strachan is not employed by Celtic Football Club. Keep that in mind. As let slip there that Celtic have their man lined up and he's not available until late November or December. So obviously the name, and many people have said it so far in the chat, obviously Knutson from Bodo Glimt seems to line up with that. A few names that came up were Wilfred Nancy, the Columbus crew manager, because the MLS ends in November. His name has been doing the rounds. Craig Bellamy's name obviously was coming up quite a lot because the qualifiers, this is the last round of qualifiers, but if Wales are in the playoffs, it would be next March, but he did go and rule himself out anyway when he was asked, and that's fair enough. I expected him to anyway because he's a very passionate Welshman. He's not going to walk away from that. And obviously Knutson, because the Norwegian League ends in November as well. And I say the names came up a lot tonight in the chat. People are talking about it and having a debate if he's the one. And first of all, Liam, I find it interesting a guy who, keep in mind, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, is not employed by Celtic Football Club in any way, is out there telling people I know who the next Celtic manager is. They've got it lined up. I find that a bit weird now. Obviously, you're going to look at was his son telling him, but at the same time, I don't really Dermot Desmond telling him because him and Gordon Strachan are friends as well. I'm very confident that if Martin O'Neill did not say yes to coming in and doing this temporary gig now, I think Gordon Strachan was getting a call next. But I do find it quite outrageous that a guy who's not employed by us is out there saying that, mate.
Here's what I'm shocked at. We're actually talking to people. Are we actually talking to people?
That is one way to look at it. That's a positive spin. I like that.
I'm spinning this on its head. We're actually talking to people. That means we're actually trying to get a manager. Oh, I'm well happy with that news, despite the messenger.
Yeah. I know the term "don't shoot the messenger," but in your case, you would shoot the messenger because it's Gordon Strachan. I know what you feel about him.
I'd miss too.
But that's a good way to look at it, yeah. Because obviously we've all got our worries that what's coming down the road here. Are they going to go for the easy and cheap option, the yes man option? But yeah, there's an encouragement there that they are actually looking at somebody. But yeah, it does kind of narrow it down to Knutson or Wilfred Nancy.
All right, let me get the horns back on for this one.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. Right. What if they're waiting to see if Scotland qualify?
Oh no! Oh, Liam, you've went from having a positive spin on it to throwing that in there. Do not do this to me, mate. Don't.
Well, do you think it might be an international manager that we're looking at? So where's Maloney's pal?
Oh, he's at Portugal. Martinez? No, he ain't going. He ain't coming in. No chance. Portugal have got a good chance of winning the World Cup next year. So right, he ain't walking from that.
But then after it, I mean, if he goes out with a World Cup winners medal, and he wants to come to Celtic,
because but actually, let's just talk hypothetically. Would you like that scenario where a manager, because we would need a manager in quick, and he'd be away for like a month and a half of the summer with this national team instead of doing stuff at Celtic? So to me, I would body swift that. But I get your logic, because if that was to happen in some world that you're like, oh my god, that guy just won the World Cup, for example, you'd obviously be all over it. But yes, the fact he would have to be at the World Cup for most of the summer before he comes and starts work at Celtic would put me off. Let's say hypothetically speaking, unless
his assistant was already here.
Well, yes, his assistant might be in the door, as we know. Yes, I do think Maloney. I do think Maloney will be involved in some way. I've made it quite clear that I don't want him as the number one. I have that lingering fear that Celtic boards being the way they are, they're going to look for, we'll just have Martin and Shaun do it to the end of the season, and conversations will be had about how do you feel about taking Shaun under your wing, Martin, and in the summer he can become the number one guy. I'm worried that's where it's going. But if he stays on as a coach under a new manager, I'm okay with that, because I think Maloney, he's shown that he's got a good football brain for the tactics and analytics and all that. I just don't think he's got it to be a number one. Like he's got the charisma and the aura. You're looking for an inspiring team talk, Liam, and Shaun Maloney walks in. I'm sorry, but I just don't see how that works, mate.
Well, who else could give that inspiring team talk?
Listen, you need somebody who's got that presence.
If he knows his football or not, and I'm not advocating for Shaun Maloney either. A lot of people have jumped off the deep end right now. 2 wins. Yeah, it wasn't great. Enjoy it, but we still got problems. We still the same team, the same problem as well. The other one, I mean, that Wilfred Nancy, the one that he was at Montreal. He got them to a final of the MLS. No bad team.
So did one Alistair Johnson play under him by any chance?
I don't think he did.
Right, okay. If he wasn't there because Montreal we signed him from, wasn't it?
What's that?
It was Montreal we signed Alistair Johnson from, wasn't it? Montreal Impact.
Yeah, he was at Montreal, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Montreal FC. And I mean, I see a lot of people saying, well, that would give us access to a whole different market and all that. And we've already got access to that market. Mm-hmm. It's easy to have scouts over here. I mean, this is an Apple TV subscription. You don't even have to leave Glasgow. There's no reason why we couldn't have that league scouted and have like a look at players that are like so in our budget and so coachable and stuff as well. That's what you see. You see a lot of raw talent over here, and it's not what people think it was 20, 30 years ago, where you're looking at all indigenous talent. It's like it's a melting pot here. So you're getting people that have come from all over the world with all sorts of different football DNA, within South American, Italian, Japanese, you see lots of, and so a lot of these kids now, with the right diet, discipline, psychology, mindfulness, the whole approach to it, are getting an opportunity to show up and start playing well. And because I think football has been so strategizing so much about tactics and stuff like that, and channels, and the robotic nature of it, a lot of the creativity is out. Then these guys could challenge every much for a spot as a guy in Germany, England, Scotland, and that, and so you're going to get a lot of good, great robotic players coming out the USA. And then again, you'll get one that comes from maybe a culture or something where he's a transplant that, like Diego Luna or something, that's going to be, like fire, And I think we're going to see that in this World Cup as well. I'd like to think that we've got our eye on a couple of different players. If you look at Cornelius over at Rangers, I mean, he's starting every week. He's playing the game. I don't like him as a player.
But a horrible challenge last week on Johnny Kenny, which, how about Ali McCoy's comments on that one? How about he gives us his opinion on that? Eh? Jesus Christ, honestly, horrendous.
I was always saying, we should be going after, was it like Kamal Miller? He's bounced around the MLS, and he's like that. You could bring him in, and he would be better than Trusty or Scales in that position, or he could even play CCV's position. There's a number, Bombito. There's another one on the Canadian team as well. A really big, strong, solid back. And when I was talking about these guys that were playing with like Toronto and Miami, Orlando FC. They're all Italian clubs now. They're all Italian French clubs. Was it the other boys? We've got two. We've got Jonathan David
and Promise David. Yeah,
and then
he plays for that. Is it Union Saint Gilles, the team that the guy that's invested in Hearts also invests in Belgium? Yeah, he plays. His name's Promise, isn't it?
Yeah, and so he's scoring for Canada every time they put him on. That kid's making it really, really hard for anybody to try and leave him out. Despite his young age and all that. So I'd love to think that we had scouts over here, and then that was part of it. But the Wilfred Nancy thing, honestly, never really heard him. And I'm over here. I watched some of it,
And that's it.
No name, no like a Jesse March or the other ones that Jesse March might be in with a shout, but again, he wouldn't come until after the World Cup.
No, that's true again, because that's the big distraction on the horizon for some of these managers if they're going down an international route. But obviously, see, the speculation is going wild right now. And as Alistair Jack's comment on screen says, O'Neill's basically said that he's off after Sunday. We'll wait and see. I've seen a couple of things. Apparently, he came out and said as well that he'd be up for staying a bit longer, because obviously James Kennedy came out and said, give Martin the cup final. And it's like, and I think that the problem, there's a problem. I mean, I wouldn't be against Martin O'Neill getting that last hurrah, but I think because there's a break here, with an international break, it's like a great opportunity. But if you were to wait till the cup final and then change it after that, we'll give him the cup final, then he goes. I think we've got a game like 3 days later. Like, I think we play on the Sunday, that cup final, and then we've got Dundee United at Tannadice on the Wednesday. So it's like, you've got a 2-week window coming up. This is probably the best opportunity. So, as I keep on saying, I do feel it's going to be O'Neill and Maloney for the rest of the season, because I do think the board will give them the cup final, then they'll win it, and then they'll just be like, well, let's keep on going. Realistically, I think we should be looking to be proactive here. I know that's a hard word for the Celtic board to understand, but I think we need to be proactive. We need to get somebody in, because the January window's coming up. And again, I know the Celtic board will harp on about, it's hard to get players in January. But I said to Terry last night, there's enough examples over the last 15 or 20 years where it has been fine in January to get deals done. It just depends how we're doing that season. If we're having a bit of an up and down season, a bit of a struggle, suddenly they find all the investment. If we're kind of sitting cozy at the top of the league, no, the money's disappeared. We don't know how to get a deal done. So that'll all depend. But for me, I would be looking to get somebody in, get it, sealed before the January window, and let the rebuild start then, and try and get players bedded in for the second half of the season, so that when the summer comes along and we don't have a Kairat Almaty situation again. But I'm talking too much sense there, Liam. That would make too much sense for some of the board members, wouldn't it?
It has to be this coming week. So we have to say goodbye to Martin. I mean, honestly, we should bring him back for the Christmas video. Make that about him,
aye, that'd be good, actually.
Bring him back, it's like old family returning or something like that. It's the first foot out your door that's Martin O'Neill. Brilliant. Ooh, right? But yeah, I think he's helping us by actually making those statements. So you like O'Neill, because he's understanding that this could go the other way, and then what he's doing right now, I think he's playing a very good game, and I think he's helping us as fans as well by putting pressure on them. Like, wait a minute, I'm not here to save your ass indefinite. Don't start laying back in your chair and thinking, "Oof, got out of that one again, Stan." This Laurel and Hardy board's got it's a full cartoon we're watching.
Another fine mess you've got me into.
Another fine mess you've got us into. So I think Martin's getting them notice that you've still got work to do, lads. Mm-hmm. You've still got to go and find the manager, and the expectations have to be better. Something that would make us thank Martin O'Neill, just send him on his best, and have excitement about somebody coming in that's going to either have some sort of vision, some sort of relationships with a club or academy, something that's going to excite us in the, in a way where, for that short term, Martin O'Neill was that right fix.
Yeah, okay, of course.
So follow up the short term fix with a perfect long term fix. Yep. That's the step to getting the fans back. You start doing that, then okay, now we've got a whole new bunch of stuff to communicate about, and let's go forward from there. But I think that's what they need to do. They need to be that whole Celtic 24/7 work ethic. I think we'll have proof of that if that's a real thing by the end of this World Cup break.
Yeah, world class in everything they do, remember? World class basics. As Pegleg Lonergan's comment says on the screen, we cannot afford to faff about with this appointment. No way. Exactly. And a lot of people in the chat backing you up, Liam, and saying spot on. The Martin Neal's not here to save them. But again, in my head, I'm just getting this vision where I'm listening to the stadium, and you've got thousands upon thousands of fans singing Martin Neal's name, and I'm just like, the board are just loving this because they're like, we've got you right where we want you. I've just got such a cynical mind about how they operate now, where I'm just like, don't give them the encouragement to do it. It's like what they did with the 2 Neil Lennon appointments previously. It's like, no, we can't go down this route of just get a wee yes man in. Let's say a Shaun Maloney long term. It's like, no, we need to show ambition. And I know, Liam, there's a case to be made that even if we brought in managers who do show that ambition, they eventually get their wings clipped anyway. Ange Postecoglou had his ambitions, didn't stick around. Brendan Rodgers was very vocal in his ambitions recently, and obviously didn't get the investment there. Even Neil Lennon, first time around, left in 2014 because of the downsizing that was going on. Don't get me wrong, it was a situation that was out of our hands because Rangers weren't around in the top flight at that point. But yeah, the downsizing was going on. Well, Lenny was obviously getting his foot in the next round of the Champions League, but Fraser Forster's getting sold, Wanyama's getting sold, Gary Hooper's getting sold. We're just downsizing all the time. So even Lennon walked away from it. And then you look at the 2 years under Ronnie Dyler, and that was just pure downsizing as well. Some of the transfers were just wild, like Kazim Richards and Carlton Cole and all that. And it's like, so yeah, I say, so there is, track record where a manager of stature could come in and want to push them, but they have to, now is the time to show the ambition. All the protest that's going on, all the times they chop about all the money they've got in the bank, and it's like, we're not asking you to spend every single penny, but getting beat by Kairat Almaty when we've got as much resources as we have, it's just not acceptable at all. And for them to think that, oh, that's fine, we'll just plod on, not to worry. It's like, we can't have things like that happening all the time. We're not asking for millions and millions to be spent, just more sensibly spent and quicker, more efficiently, Liam. I
mean, there has to be a manager out there who just has the ego you know, in the sort of sense that goes, yeah, I'll take this mob on. You know, knowing that you've got like, you know, like this massive support behind you. You've now got like this media machine with all the podcasts, blogs, everything in Celtic right now. Can't hide for it. It's fun, you know. So there's a lot going on there for like an ambitious manager that wanted to really sort of say, okay, well, here's a sleeping giant of world football. And that's what you are. If you were a brand consultant, this is the sort of brand you would want to come in and, you know, just reinvigorate. You know, when you've seen people come in and like, you know, like Levi's went through resurgence, and, you know, you see Adidas was it for a while, and then it became popular again in the 90s and stuff, like youth culture and all that. Celtic's one of these outliers where, you know, I've said it before, we've got the most diverse fan base in the world. We all come from different, like just places and ideas and that. And yet when you see us all together, you know, it's quite close. And I think I can say that, you know, I've watched in the Celtic pubs all around the world, you know, and so, yeah, we need them to get it together. And I think it means, yeah, we need some new ideas to come into the board, and someone, maybe a chairman that comes in, and maybe, you know, his Monday meeting, you know, when he first comes in, he say, I want this transfer window to redefine transfer windows. I want this, what we see as a normally hard window, to, you know, bolster or, you know, find star players and that. I want to break that mold. I want to prove that wrong. And you go in with the intent to say, okay, I'm going to take 77 million. I'm going to start with that. I'm just going to see, okay, what can I spin from here? How good can we get? What's the best players we can come in? Who are we listening to? Have we done all our homework? And then bang, bang, bang. Let's make it happen. And I think that's what the fans are all asking for. You know,
that's it.
I mean, I know it's not all that's it. I mean, it'd be hard for sitting for St. Johnson fans saying just, you know, somebody going bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
But we can do that. And that's what you're coming into. You have that power. We are the Ferrari.
We are. We're not the Honda Civic. We are the Ferrari.
Yeah, that was lost on Rogers. We are that Ferrari. You know? Yep. So I think we've got to start looking at that, you know, that way, that we are that type of brand already. We don't need to go and do crazy stunts and all that, or sell our soul to the NFL or wherever it is, you know. We're still this autonomous brand that's way more than that, because it's in people's soul. And
what's it going to take for them to realise that? What is it going to take, Liam? Unbelievable.
It's a good Christmas advert this year, because I think they're losing a lot of fans. So it's funny, I went to Adidas store in Vancouver the other day. I know there's a boycott and embargo and all that, but I've got to get my voice up for Christmas, right? And I went in there looking, and they did every single team, including the MLS teams by Adidas, and one. Some of these MLS kits, away kits and all that, are absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
like, amazing.
I think it's LAFC. I like their one. It's black with gold, which is always a nice combination. That's always a good one, yeah.
The Orlando ones as well. They've got like this trippy dark purple black one, and, you know, just really great stuff. And that was the thing. Then Arsenal had about 40 different strips, tracksuits, hoodies. Same with Bayern. Same with just about everybody. Roma had some great stuff. Looked at buying the green one.
That Roma shot's amazing, actually. If only Celtic had that as an alternative this season.
It's even nicer close up. And I hope they wear that at Parkhead. That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? That'd be a laugh.
They should have worn it last night at Ibrox. That would have went down a treat. They wore an orange kit, though. They wore orange instead. I'm like, no, like your white and green one. Anyway, that's an opportunity there, Roma.
They might not got away alive. They've got to come back one more time, so who knows? I know
they'll be back to us soon.
But they only had for Celtic. They had one wee rack, and it was just the home and away. That was it. The green one with the black stripes, and the black one with the pinstripes. So really alike, but that was it. There was nothing else. There was none of that special trainers. There was no pictures, no mannequin. Nothing. It was like we were the poorest brand in the shop. It was Saudi Arabian sweaters, jerseys and all that there as well. Yeah. And they looked like they were getting more traction. And so you just wonder, and it's like, okay, well, where we're going, we've got this sort of relationship with Adidas and stuff like that, and it's like, how are we no bigger brand? You know, how are we not, you know, going to be, because I think we stopped pushing ourselves to actually, whereas people are out there taking the intent and actually trying to become a bigger brand or a global brand or like a European league football team, you know, like the team last night. You know, their intent there is you can see what they are moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's a hard time to, you know, just standing so still right now. Yeah. You know, I think we need to just amplify stuff out there of what Celtic's reach is, and that starts by separating this boardroom and the football team.
Massively.
You know, I don't know, like Gordon Strachan. I wouldn't want him as a director of football.
Yeah.
I really hope he doesn't come into the team. I'm hoping
another Strachan finds his way into the Celtic boardroom or the Celtic backroom staff. Imagine that,
I always say it's Jackie McNamara. That's who I'd like to see.
You've pushed his name a few times, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
and maybe Paul Lambert. Paul
Lambert's been doing the rounds recently on media. I've noticed he's been popping up a few times. But I'd say it's not just going to change with just the manager. Obviously, I think Terry said it before on post-match shows. There needs to be a root and branch turnaround here. It really does. The whole structure of the club needs modernised. But yeah, then just before we move on to talking about the game, just that comment I put up there, though, Alistair commenting on my shirt tonight. It's a cracker there, shirt to be fair, but it also reminds me of the Raith Rovers game as well, because the Raith Rovers defeat in the League Cup final was the first Celtic game I remember watching as a child when I first began following this sport and this team. And that's my earliest memory of Celtic. So yeah, this shirt does also remind me of it. But it's a cracker there, shirt, but yeah, we were terrible, as Alistair Jack says. So to be fair, what we are now, what we're moaning about, is a far cry from what it was in 1994, put it that way. But as you say, we've earned the right to have that because we've got all that money. We are the Ferrari essentially, so it's like we have that. You know, we're able to ask these questions and push the board and just say we've got so much more potential to be more than what we are, and their ambition seems to be, as long as we're just better than Rangers, you know. And this season we need to be better than Rangers and Hearts, it seems. So they better pull their finger out and get that sorted. But before we move on to talk about the game, then Liam, obviously it might be Martin O'Neill's last game, but you know who won't be there on Sunday? As we found out tonight, the Green Brigade will not be part of it. When I saw the announcement, my first thought was, there's an angle here. There's definitely a cynical mind here. There's an angle. So there's a reason why this has happened, because I do remember earlier in the year there was an incident as well where the Green Brigade got kettled outside of their supporters club, the game that we lost to Rangers 3-2, and the Green Brigade didn't get into the stadium. They get basically kept on the London Road, and there was a lot of angst in the air heading into that game. I can't remember the exact reason why, but there was a bit of an issue between the Green Brigade and the board at that point as well. And it was almost, and the club came out and said, they knew nothing about it. But a lot of people were like, I don't know. I think the club might have influenced that decision to keep the Green Brigade out because of rumours of a protest or whatever. Obviously, what's going on right now, my first thought when I read it, or when I saw the headline, was this is an angle because they're unhappy about the protesting. But obviously, I've read the full thing. I've seen the video clip that was doing the rounds. It was on the Scottish News tonight as well. So they're claiming that there was an incident at the stadium against Falkirk last Wednesday where a steward was attacked for searching a fan, doing a ticket check or whatever. And then they're claiming about 100 members of the supporters group came down and, trampled on the steward or the police or whatever it was. But basically, it was an incident in the stadium, and that's what they're claiming it's about. But they're banned for the next 3 home games and I think the next 3 away games. So somebody worked out that if they serve their sentence and nothing else comes up, then it'll be the Roma game before the Green Brigade are allowed back in. But I don't know if they've said anything yet on their Twitter account. Somebody might be able to keep me right in the chat, because I was going to keep my eyes peeled on their Twitter account, because I'd imagine they'd probably say something in retaliation to that on the North Curve Celtic account. But nothing as far as I know has been said yet. But with everything that's going on right now, Liam, and the massive divide between fans and the board, and the majority of fans who for are probably going to not buy what the board have put out, even though I say there is a video clip that seems to support what was said. This is probably the last thing that we need right now, isn't it? Because this is just going to cause even more fraction and more unrest, mate.
Oh my God, it's like V for Vendetta playbook. I mean, this season again, I always keep thinking we're getting written by Alan Moore or Grant Morrison, one of like dystopian comic book writers, because just like one thing comes after another. Now it's like the Green Brigade. Okay, well they've got it on video. Like, well, if you've got it on video and it's clear video and you can identify it, I mean, I know how video works. You should be able to zoom right in and identify people if that's the case, and see what's on that video. And if there is people that waded in that needed to be removed and charged or whatever, then let that be the case. But when you start banning the entire section of supporters, I mean, like I don't know enough. I don't go to the matches. There's no Green Brigade in Vancouver. Surprise!
You just get up like at stupid o'clock in the morning to go and watch us. You just do that.
Although there is a Green Brigade sticker in a toilet in the Vancouver.
Right.
We don't know who put that up. Somebody's put that up. But it wasn't during one of the games, like the Bhoys on a Friday night or something.
Right.
But I don't know. So it's like how do they know if you're in the Green Brigade? Is this just that entire section?
So
what are they going to do? Are they going to tarp it or?
Well, the corner that they're in, the safe standing corner, it's only like the 200 at the front are the core members of the Green Brigade. So I think it's them, because the people who are up the back of the North Curve aren't necessarily part of the group. But basically, you've obviously the tickets nowadays are all a card. You've got a card that you scan at the gate going in. So obviously the club's got it on record of who's allocated to each seat. But the core members of the Green Brigade sit down at the front of the North Curve. I say there's about 200 of them, I think, and then the rest of the North Curve going up to the back of the stand is just other people who are in the real seating section. So it's not the full corner that's going to be completely empty. It'll be the front section, the front few rows that'll be empty for the next few games, but they can identify it through the card. So basically, we'll just make sure that card, if it's allocated to somebody that sits in those specific seats, it'll just be like blocked from being able to enter the stadium, because you have to scan it at the gate. And they'll be able to do that. It's like if I'm going to like a European game or a cup game and I've had to buy my ticket separately, they'll activate my card. So rather than getting a separate ticket, it used to be you would get a paper ticket, separate, but nowadays they just activate your card. So what they'll probably do to police it is they just deactivate the cards for those games so that people can't get in and they can just give a card to their mate and then they can just come in. It'll be something along that line, Liam, that'll do.
So, I mean, it's coming across making them sound way more sinister than what they are with that report. I mean, obviously, I've not seen what's happened and all that, but my impression is seeing it on the television, the Green Brigade were like, that was like they're ultras, but I always liked stuff about them. I always loved seeing BJ doing it at front. Sometimes you see other boys, younger, jumping about with him down there as well. And, and they always seem to be getting the attention of the players, going over and thanking them and all that. I mean, this is what I see in the telly. The songs keep you start there. I like a flary moment now and again as well. Anything that makes visual spectacle, and that seems to come for them and the boys. I think the boys to do the banners or who are like.
Well, they'll still be in the stadium. They sit near me in the stadium, so they'll still be there. But Ryan T has confirmed in the comments there they have replied. I've not seen it yet. I'll go and check it out after the show. So thanks for letting me know that one, Ryan T. But I didn't make this link at the time, and I'm amazed this didn't dawn on me. I'll start a comment. James Kennedy's pointed this out. It's Remembrance Sunday this coming weekend because it'll be the last one. And the convenient timing of it. Now, when you piece it all together, Liam, that light bulb goes off above your head, and it's like Eureka. That's what it was. Or that's what it could very well be. But at the end of the day, there's still tens of thousands of Celtic fans the same, and that the Bhoys supporters group are there, and they're very much of very same opinion of the Green Brigade towards these things. So if the board have just thought, just ban the Green Brigade, remembering Sunday's coming up, they won't disrupt the minute silence, they're in for a surprise, I think, on that one, especially with the unrest towards them right now. I think a lot of fans are going to have what James Kennedy's pointed out is probably this is the reason why they've done it, and it might backfire on them, and it might be a bit noisier than they were hoping for silence, and they could just get away from any disruption. But it could backfire on them here if that's what they've done.
It is one way of attention grabbing, is to cause something such a disruption that again it's horrible tactics, you know. So you're disrupting something to make it worse in an attempt to try and fix it. I mean, like Rodgers, I thought, you know, is he working his ticket? Is he purposely messing up this team, not playing players here or there? You know, are they deliberately antagonising just to see where this is going to go? Yeah, I don't know.
Just another chapter in the Green Brigade versus the Board. It's just another one. That's it. It's just our chapter. So we'll concentrate now on the actual game itself and just, you know, try and see how we think it's going to go before we head off. Because that's us done just over an hour. These Friday feelings always end up going for about an hour and 15 now, an hour and 20. But yeah, obviously it's Kilmarnock. Last time we played them, bit of a tetchy ending, wasn't it? It was obviously that penalty in the last minute. Talking about meltdowns and whatnot, that obviously caused a nationwide meltdown as well, with ex-referees and pundits and whatnot coming out and talking about the penalty decision that we got in the last minute. Obviously, in stoppage time, James Forrest's shot was deflected out and we got a penalty and ended up winning. Ian Atchell scored that day. It was Tenecti's debut, where he looked quite lively. We talked about earlier on. Obviously, Stuart Kettlewell was not particularly happy that day. He usually isn't happy when they lose to us. He's always got a whinging face about it. But yeah, they're coming to Celtic Park on Sunday. And yeah, clearly are not in the best of form right now. Domestically, we need to put our eggs all in that basket. As I say, Europe's probably a write-off. We need to try and get that loss from last night out the system as quickly as possible. So ideally, you would say, looking at it, this is probably a good opponent for Celtic to have on Sunday. And if it does turn out to be Martin O'Neill's last game, remains to be seen, then yeah, you'll want to obviously go out with a big performance and a big win, Liam.
Well, it'll be interesting to see a couple of things. There's a few things I'm interested in this game for. One, to see if we're going to go and still do the same tactics, or Martin O'Neill's going to give us a what if. What if we play two up front and we play three at the back and change that shape a bit? You know, I think that is going to be really something to watch out for. The other one, which is I think is interesting, I like doing this just in the game as well, is the boy, is it Watson or Watkins that plays
Watson with Kilmarnock? So apparently we are rumoured to be in for him. And just on a side note there, I saw a thing through the week about that. It's saying Celtic are planning a bid on him in January, regardless of who the manager is. Which then, my next question to that is, when Nicholson and Mackay were asked at the fan collective meeting about Brendan making comments about club signings, why does he use the term club signings? To which Michael Nicholson, of course, did. I don't know. So if we're going to bid on Watson, regardless of who the manager is, was the quote that was used. Who's sanctioning it? That, to me, is a club signing. That's what I would deem that as. Somebody within the hierarchy is sanctioning that, because regardless of who the manager is. So to me, that contradicts, again, a contradiction in the Celtic board. But what they said in those official minutes that came out, they don't know why he says club signings, as if that's not a thing. But if you're going to go for a player regardless of who the manager is, to me, that is a thing.
Aye. So I think it'll be interesting to watch him as well and see what position he's playing against us, just to see how he plays and just to see if that's something that's is keeping everything as is, or is that a different position that he's playing that might be in a different formation where he might be a better adjustment, or I just want to see the guy who brings the ball out, the guy who makes the first tackle. I just want to see what sort of role he has and what he has that might be capturing our scouts' eyes.
Did he score against us at Rugby Park? Did he score the equaliser? And he scored, I remember he scored an equaliser against us a couple of seasons ago. Kelly got a last-minute equaliser against us under McInnes. And he scored a late equaliser. It was Bernabei totally switched off at the back post, and he nipped in and scored. So he's got a couple of goals against us now. He's a bit of a form in his side.
And he's a big physical, imposing lad as well. So, well, let's see. I think he'll be up against Negrum. Let's see if Negrum plays, but I shouldn't have much bother battering him a bit.
Hot and cold, the definition of hot and cold player. He's capable of great moments and then just negates it moments later with doing something really daft. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So in terms of like the team, again, I don't think Marneo's going to rock the boat too much. Obviously, when he took over in the interim, we've speculated on maybe Sinisalo will finally get a game and whatnot. But no, I don't see O'Neill looking to experiment too much here. Schmeichel will keep his place in goal. I think Trusty and Scales will still be the centre back pairing. The Tierney and Sirachi thing is, Sirachi's probably the more sensible option. Tierney played last night and he was just way off it. Sirachi's looked good in those couple of games before that, so I would maybe get Sirachi back in there. As for the right back, obviously Ralston didn't have the best of times last night, to be fair. Does Kobe Donovan come in? Alistair Johnson's probably still a bit too early for him to come back. I think Neil even said that. Well, he said about last night, obviously, Johnson, that won't feature. So I don't imagine they'll feature on Sunday. Same with Ian Actual. Midfield, yeah, right now, again, the midfield, it just seems like McGregor obviously gets his nods because he's the captain. Negrin, Engels, two players who just show flashes here and there. Engels had a couple of games there where you're like, okay, now we're starting to see something. But last night, as most of the team were, they were pretty much invisible. Bernardo did make an appearance, so Liam, there is that. I suppose we can maybe Bernardo, a redemption arc for him, perhaps. But it is interesting that O'Neill's came in for a few games and Bernardo still seems to be well out the reckoning. That's quite an interesting one, mate.
I'd love to see him get the same chance Negrin's been given.
Oh, yeah.
He's had quite a few good starts in a row. And I think the more you see him, the more he'll play his way out of the team. Because you're seeing as much staff stuff as you are good stuff. There's some genuine pieces of skill and talent in that, but it's offset all the times with a lot of times impatience, over expectations, just think he's a much better player than he is in that, and running into walls. I don't know how many times I've seen him take a shot into the wall, where we're building that place and he's just decided to be the one to take the shot where maybe he could have had one more ball,
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, the Ralston thing I think is harsh. It's I don't think he had a good game at all. I love Kobe Donovan again, and that's a bit momentum, right? I mean, I was all up for him what he was playing and all that, and he did well, and you were seeing an arc, you were seeing a progression, and then he just disappeared at the team again, bang.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe him coming in would be a nice sort of game for him to come in and play. It's like I don't think I'm trying to think who he's got on that wing. If it's like somebody that's going to give him a lot of problems and run at him, do you know who they have in their wing?
I've got to be honest, I'm not massive on who Kelly have got. I just know that I just remember from the last game, they had two guys in their team that were like basketball players. They were about 6'5", 6'6", and there was one in particular where it was Donovan. Funny enough, he just manhandled them, like just grabbed them and properly threw him to the ground. And of course, the referee, oh no, play on, absolutely fine. It's like, don't know about that, but I'm pretty sure that was the first game that Donovan had to start after coming into the team because of the injury to Alistair Johnson. I'm pretty sure it was, and Ralston got injured as well. And it was so Donovan had to start, and he was pretty because he was involved in the. Or maybe he came on, but he definitely played his part in the penalty because he won the ball and got to the byline and cut it back, and James Forrest hit the shot, and obviously they handled it. So he did get involved in the. He was in the winning goal that day because I remember him definitely playing, and whoever it was up front for them just grabbing him and just throwing him to the ground. And say Scottish referees, no free kick there. But yeah, in terms of like the forwards, obviously Johnny Kenny, he was pretty much invisible last night after his wee purple patch. But again, service was null and void. So how much can you really read into it? Obviously, Osmond's now getting an injury. Ian Actual's probably not going to feature. So it's going to be Johnny Kenny. The only alternative is Maeda plays through the middle. That's the only alternative we've really got for strikers.
I think Maeda's a great alternative, but then.
Oh yeah, I mean, right now when you've got Johnny Kenny or Maeda, it's like probably still Maeda would be the choice.
let's see if that. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, let's see what Yamada brings to the table now. It's
Yamada, of course.
We've got another one just ready to come out and show us what he has. Okay,
Aye.
now you dance, And sorry, that's what it's come down to with this board. We are now, America's Got Talent, and that's it. Everybody's auditioning for a role. The first one that grabs it with any sort of intent and wants to make it its own.
Right.
Hopefully they get it on merit, right? But I think at this point it wouldn't hurt to have a look at him. I mean, it looked okay.
Aye.
The pre-season, everybody's that's watched the games also had the same opinion. Yeah, okay, we know there's more there. He came with a good pedigree, I guess. From Japan, they well sought after. I don't know.
I just find it interesting though that like some guys that have got a chance in this short stint with Neil and Maloney and Yamada, who we were all calling out from, we saw the way Brendan obviously treated him sort of the same way Inamura as well. And Yamada still hasn't featured in those couple of games, and it's like, oh man, is he that far off it again? When you look at what we've been served up this season, you're like, can he really be that bad? Can he honestly be? So to me, it's like we may well say on Sunday we may be in the matchday squad just out of default alone because, with the injuries we've got. But I'd say Maeda's probably, if fit and good to go, then for me, I would just go with him through the middle. Yeah, Johnny Kenny scored the 2 goals against Falkirk and he got the goal against Rangers. But for me, this is like we cannot afford to keep dropping any more points. We have to keep the pressure on Hearts now and try and motor on. So with me, it's like get Maeda through the middle. Probably means that probably James Forrest comes on the right. I've always thought James Forrest this season, when he comes off the bench, has actually been really good. But when he starts a game, he tends to be just not really good. Because last week against Rangers, when he came on, Forrest was unreal. Like when he looked like the Forrest of 10 years ago. But yeah, when he starts games this season, it's just like he's an empty jersey. So he seems like more of an impact player. But again, if Maeda goes into the middle, your choices then for the right wing are either Balakisha or Yang or Forrest. And it's like Balakisha, he's not winning over anybody right now. Yang, I give you fans at the point where no, we don't want to see Yang anymore in the team. And then you've got James Forrest, 34-year-old James Forrest. So for me, that's what I would go with. Tenecti on the left, I'd have James Forrest just start on the right, just because out of the options available, even if he's not great, he's still going to give us something at least, I think, more than the way Balakisha's playing right now. And Yang, obviously, and do get more than him. And yeah, I'd put Maeda through the middle.
Honestly, I'm thinking Balakisha must have a lookalike or something, and that guy's got on the plane. Like, are we getting George Wade cousins here?
Oh, Ali Dia.
I don't know what we see in him. I see him coming out. He looks very raw. If that was a boy that was coming up through the B team and stuff, I mean, Karamoko Dumbelli came up. He had more of a presence than this guy going on the park, and he just seems to have ghosted every single game. I'm actually looking for him. I'm looking to hear his name, see what it goes out, but it's absolutely nothing that stands out. I can't remember anything he's done right now that was like remarkable in the sense that I can even remember it.
I know. He put in one cross for Maeda to score the winner against Motherwell. That was it. That was the only thing that he's done.
So that's probably his big moment so far.
Yeah.
I don't know, 6 million and chasing him for ages and sort of being like the main goal of our transfer window. Yeah, underwhelmed with this one right now. I don't see that one. I don't see where the spark's going to come from in this boy. If it's the right position or not, but just.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now until we appoint a new manager, and maybe a new manager will find a role for him that works and get a tune out of him right now, because we're in a state of flux with Martin Neal and Maloney in temporary charge. But for me, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until we do get a new manager appointed. Hopefully that's soon and not next season or the end of the season, whatever. But yeah, I'll try and judge him there. But yeah, right now of what we've seen, it's like I'm not feeling it at all. But I'll wait and see if a new manager can pull something out of him.
Yeah, I tell you what, if we got Ange back, I bet the first thing he would do would get rid of all the old guard that he brought in originally.
Probably,
I would say very much an Ange move.
It would be, actually.
I think we have to be prepared as well to lose a lot of players this January as well.
To be fair, a lot of them can go as far as like many of the fan base will tell you.
Yeah, and that means maybe giving up on Arnon Engels or a Balaquisha or something like that already, just to move in a more competent, recognised player that we think can fix it, and just admit that, okay, we didn't, just like any game, we didn't play our best, but let's fix it as fast as we can. Let's not make that an ongoing thing. Let's fix it now. Let's make sure, right, we didn't get the right cover for that position. Let's scrap what we did. Let's get rid of them, see what we can get back. But let's go with that. Who's that prime left winger, right winger, whoever we're going to have? That hopefully we can get. That coming.
We definitely need a striker, but that is a priority in January. David Stalker has put in a comment saying we should have signed Diego Luna. There you go, he agrees with you, Liam. You threw that one there. Robert Duck coming in saying Maloney is the next coach. No, honestly, please God, no. What else have we got here before we go? This comment just for me. So this time last year, Liam, and this week last year, 3-1 against Leipzig, 66 Kev won. So reminding us, this time last year, that was probably the last really great performance, you could say, from Celtic. We were fantastic that night. Like, honestly, if to go a goal behind as well on a Champions League night, we took them apart after that. We just seemed to click into gear after going behind. We were dominant. It was one of the best performances I think we've had in any European night, and certainly this century. But yeah, that was a year ago this week, so that's where we are now. Here we are losing to Michelin 3-1 and just like state of us. But anyway, Kilmarnock on Sunday, Liam. Before we go, quick score prediction. What do you think it's going to go?
3-1 Celtic.
3-1. A lot of 3-1s these days. 3-1 against Rangers last week. Lost 3-1 to Michelin. Could have been another 3-1. I'll say a very routine 2-0. I'll go for Celtic will win, but yeah, I'll just go for a very run-of-the-mill, no frills, 2-0 victory.
Who's scoring for you?
Who's scoring? I'm going to say Maeda gets a goal. To be honest, we've not heard the Maeda goal celebration music enough times this season. The tequila one, because that was amazing when that was played last year. But yeah, this season I think we've only heard that twice at Celtic Park. One against Falkirk and one against Motherwell. So it's like we need to hear that. So I'll say Maeda will get a goal as well. I'll say 2-0 and Maeda scores a goal as well.
I'll go with McGregor.
Okay. Callum.
Get that done finally, because you know what that's going to be like.
Yep. Kenny McCall could keep reminding us. 12 seasons that will be. I think it is 11 seasons, 12 seasons he's chasing. Yeah. We had a couple of predictions from the chat before we go. McLaughlin P says 5-0, and thank you everything, Martin. We shall wait and see.
My third goal scorer, Yang.
No, Yang. God almighty.
Yang Alanga Dang plan's going to.
The Yang Gang will rise again. Robert Duck, he's saying 6-0. Spill the Glove says 2-1 the hoops. Ali's saying 3-0. Square Sausage Mix says 2-0. Ryan Rafferty's also saying 2-0. So there we go. All positive stuff. So, yep. 4 o'clock on Sunday. Celtic Kilmarnock. Obviously, it's not on the telly if you're going along to the game. Obviously, enjoy it. We'll be back again for a post-match show. Terry will be in the driving seat for that one. Who will be joining him, we'll wait and see. He might even do it himself, because obviously he's done a solo show recently, but ideally you want somebody on with him, because in case the techie gremlins strike and he's kind of stuck, then obviously it would be handy if somebody else was there. But we'll get that sorted in the next day or so. And make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, all the good stuff, and tune in on Sunday for our post-match, and hopefully it is a nice positive victory. And then will we see a new manager unveiled in the next 2 weeks? Watch this space. As I keep saying, Celtic, do not prove me right on this. You know what you don't need to do here, so don't prove me right. Okay, right, we're out of here, and we shall catch you in the next one. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you later. Cheers, guys.
Cheerio.